Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely pumped you're hanging out with us today because honestly, we are about to unpack a completely wild cultural crossover. We're going to trace the unbelievable journey of IShowSpeed. We're talking about a guy transitioning from a super loud, totally energetic YouTube megastar into a literal, physical competitor at WWE WrestleMania 42. We've got the whole backstage pass for you, the training regimens, the raw emotions, the whole shebang. So let's get into it. Right off the bat, we've got to ask the ultimate question, right? What exactly does it take for an internet personality, someone who's mostly used to sitting behind a desk or, running around with a camera, to actually survive the intensely physical and highly theatrical gauntlet of professional wrestling? Well, as we're about to see, it is absolutely not just about showing up. It requires a massive overnight crash course in athletics, psychology, and acting. All right, kicking things off, welcome to WrestleMania. We all know IShowSpeed for his crazy over-the-top internet bravado, right? But before the crowds even arrived, standing in that massive empty arena, there was this incredible moment of pure vulnerability. Confronted by WWE superstars Austin Theory and Logan Paul telling him he needs to lock in, he has this very genuine, very real realization. He actually tells them, guys, I know this is my first match, but this is WrestleMania. I'm a streamer. It's this stark contrast between his internet persona and the unforgiving reality of the stage he's about to step onto. And man, talk about a crash course in WWE theatricality. Before he even takes a single bump, he's already dealing with backstage shenanigans. He actually runs into the wrestling character Danhausen, who hilariously questions how Speed can possibly be so famous with only 180 human followers. When Speed corrects him that no, it's 180 million, Danhausen promptly curses him. It's a super funny anecdote, but it perfectly highlights how Speed had to instantly play along and blend his internet reality with the WWE's scripted fantasy world. Moving right along to our next chapter, inside the Performance Center. Okay, to really understand the dedication here, get this. Speed had just driven 3 hours straight after a bowling live stream, running on maybe 5 hours of sleep. And his very first lesson, how to fall without totally destroying his body. Austin Theory had to teach him how to take a bump. It really demystifies the physical toll of the ring. You don't just fall. Actually, scratch that. It's an incredibly calculated technique. You have to tuck your chin to protect your head, drop easy onto your butt, and then push hard away from the mat to absorb the impact. It's literally a science of safety. But Speed wasn't just there to learn basic safety. He had to prove he was a legit capable athlete, not just some celebrity prop they dragged in. He had to master these intense acrobatics, and fast. He learned the moonsault, which is a full backward flip off the ropes. He learned the very specific, awkward footwork of running the ropes by stepping up with both legs at the exact same time. He even learned the head scissors, literally wrapping his feet around an opponent's neck to throw them across the ring. Now, this brings up some totally fascinating ring psychology when it comes to top rope moves. When Speed is flying through the air, his job isn't actually to control the fall. His job is simply to be catchable. As the coaches explained to him, if he tries to do the catcher's job, he'll end up getting dumped right on his head. To be catchable, he has to stay flat, keep his core super engaged, so no being a lazy noodle in midair, and just implicitly trust the professional underneath him. All right, let's talk about the storytelling. Section 3, scripting the mayhem. These matches are rehearsed almost like a high-speed, incredibly violent dance. Every storyline beat is mapped out. Backstage, they walked through this exact chaotic sequence. First, Speed accidentally hits LA Knight with brass knuckles. His psychology in that moment is all about making amends. He wants to convey, man, I didn't mean to do it, total accident. But right as he's apologizing, Logan Paul shoves Speed into LA Knight from behind to create this massive distraction, which allows Austin Theory to swoop in and get the pin. Every single emotional beat and physical movement is carefully orchestrated. Next up, the final countdown. Section 4, match day preparation. Look, if you're going to perform in a WWE ring, skipping breakfast is absolutely not an option. So what did Speed use to fuel up? It was a highly chaotic, yet honestly kind of brilliant nutritional mix. Feta cheese, 6 egg whites, carne asada, refried beans, healthy fats from half an avocado, and exactly 1 single pancake for his carbs. It's a hilarious combo for sure, but hey, it provided the exact fuel his body needed for the explosive energy that match required. There's also some incredible visual storytelling built right into his wrestling gear. He didn't just throw on some generic spandex. No way. They worked with professional gear makers to blend classic WWE aesthetics with Speed's own personal brand. They went with a darker teal base to look a bit grittier, explicitly asked to leave off the Thunderbolt E logo, and created this awesome Flash superhero motif with a 7 on the cape. That was a direct, heartfelt homage to his absolute idol, Cristiano Ronaldo. $400,000. Let that sink in for a second. Right before the match, to really hype him up, Logan Paul surprised Speed with an unbelievably generous gift, a Volume 1 9.0 graded One Piece manga. It is literally the second highest graded copy in the entire world, carrying an estimated value of nearly $500,000. But to really get why that insanely expensive gift matters so much, we have to look at the genuine emotion behind it. Speed explained that during the deep isolation of quarantine, he was really struggling with depression. Discovering the One Piece anime gave him a sense of motivation. In his own words, "It saved my life." So Logan Paul wasn't just handing him a pricey collectible, he was validating a piece of art that profoundly shaped Speed's mental health. It's a really touching moment. Okay, the final stretch. Section 5, Surviving the Grandest Stage. The climax of the whole night was just an absolute whirlwind. Speed actually pulled it off. He hit his signature top rope maneuver, effectively nailing a barking frog splash on the biggest stage imaginable. But of course, in true WWE fashion, that amazing physical feat was immediately followed by a dramatic betrayal. Just like they rehearsed, Logan Paul shoved Speed directly into a furious LA Knight. Speed was basically thrown right into the fire, taking the hits to sell the story perfectly. Sitting backstage afterward, completely sore from taking a literal beating, Speed's reaction just brings this whole crazy journey full circle. Even though his team technically took a loss in the ring, he is just overwhelmed with gratitude. He's sitting there thinking back to being a little kid, a massive John Cena and Rey Mysterio fan just mashing buttons on his PlayStation 2. Through sheer force of internet will and a whole lot of physical dedication, he achieved the ultimate childhood dream. So that brings us to our final provocative thought. IShowSpeed completely proved that an internet personality can put in the grueling physical work, learn the intricate ring psychology, and successfully execute on a massive global stage like WrestleMania. But it leaves us wondering, as digital creators continue to shatter the boundaries between the internet and traditional sports, how is this going to redefine what we even consider a mainstream athlete in the future of live entertainment? It is a fascinating evolution, and I highly encourage you to keep your eyes on it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Catch you next time.